Before recorded time, before truth, before history, before man sat upon the thrones of their lives, there was myth. The stories kept people safe in the darkness, gave them a reason to strive for light and courage in the fight. Stories of heroes bearing hope, confidence in the past and anticipation for the future. Hope that when all around you is falling and failing, you can rise. Your neighbor can rise, and together make it through. Not without harm, not without scars, but together, stronger. So it was long ago when the land was young. You awake in prison. The bars are strong. Outside, thunder and rain beat upon the stone wall that both protects and imprisons you. Next to you is a mud-caked savage. You can't be sure, but you think she is naked. When she sees you stare, she shuffles over and squats near the shared wall of your cells. A bit worse for wear, but I think you'll do nicely. When you try to reply, she shushes you. She glances around for any guards. When she feels it is safe, she continues, I know you just got here, but are you ready to leave? Before you answer, she begins screaming and flopping across the stone floor. So let me explain quickly the layout. Here is the objective. Cyrddin's pretty much equipment and gear is right there, and your objective is to come here and to pretty much bring her there and successfully let her obtain her own gear, and also at the same time obtain some of your gear for some mere chance. As you could see, some of your former comrades and friends have been eaten or slain, and some of their gear and equipment have been left back, and some of your own equipment have been left on you. So each hero will start with one gear, one equipment, while Cyrddin is left with nothing but nudity in her jail cell, and she got the attention of 3 grubbers. In this scenario, Act 1, there's supposed to be a hunting pack of 7 grubbers, but there is 10, and not only that, 1 Mucker captain, and he is there to pretty much make sure that his grubbers feed and pretty much beat mercilessly the prisoners. Now the heroes are there, and the darkness has not come to take the heroes away. And as it is at 0, the current darkness, there is 5 possible treasures that may be obtained, and the only way to obtain treasures in this case will be to slay 3 foes in one very mighty strike, or 2 if you defeat the captain, and more importantly, if there's a lair, but there's no lairs in this case. So let's focus on this scenario. There's 2 tiles, and the heroes are here. They do not know each other, but yet they're going to know each other as they're going to campaign in the world of myth together, and they'll become formidable allies, as each one will always bring the better of the other. And here begins the great tale and the great story of the legendary 5 heroes. So let there begin the great escape. So Lily is here in the back, and she's the Skald. She's the Skald of the group, and she feels that she needs to inspire her group. And what she will do to inspire her group, using her very warped spoon, okay, she will play what she can only do, maximum of 3 verses, and she will decide with her 5 vitality and 1 die 10 and 1 fate die that she's able to pretty much use to roll on any cases. She will see how she's going to inspire her friends and allies. Don't forget, a Skald uses verses, and they can only be positive, negative, or neutral. But you can never have a positive and a negative at the same time. But you can have a positive and neutral. She uses instruments. In most of the cases, she uses the fate dice to roll. Let's see what she will do to aid her allies. So what she will do, she will, with faith failing, she will pretty much the current tile that she's on, she will negative verse affect all the enemies there, and because she doesn't plan to move, well, she's going to make it very difficult for the foes to strike her allies by increasing their target number by 2, and I'll explain what that means when that occurs. So that's the first thing she does, and if you notice also, it will be one action for this, so the darkness slowly take a mist. And Amnok here, with his holy faith, even beaten and worn, turns to his allies and praises them with good faith as he prays. And Amnok, using his only equipment that he still holds dear, is his worn prayer book, as he will use that to pray for his allies. And by praying, he will choose to make the feet of the saints, which it will affect also the tile. And what he does is each hero within range reduces the AP cost of an attack action by 1. So it means that any attack done by anybody will be lessened by 1, and that's good because that means it will lessen the darkness that will smother them in the tile. And by doing that, he will also move out 2 spaces right out here to give him a good opportunity to see the foes as he screams at them and they turn. Now she is pretty much in a dire situation, as Cyrddin feels even though as a barbarian she feels kind of, scared by what's going afoot. So here, the legendary Arthur, he feels that it is his time to bring the inspired moment to his allies, new allies, and he will take his action now. And he uses rage, and rage enhances some of his skills, while shield pretty much protects him from certain attacks, and yet he could use it also to attack with, and he will use that in due time. But right now he is stuck with only what he was able to hold dear, and pretty much his captors did not bother to take this Haldorian blade, which empowers him with 2 dices of attack on top of his skillful soldier dice roll. So in this case, what he's going to do, he will do the Harvest of Bones, and pretty much if he doesn't move, he gets an extra die to roll, and if he moves halfway, he gets a extra fate die. And at this point we'll see what he does, but he can pretty much go right in there into that spot and pretty much bring his wrath and harvest their bones. So he's going to do this, and because of what Amnok did, instead of the usual 2 AP that this will cost, instead what will happen, it will only cost 1. And in this case, the AP has increased to 2, and now Arthur, he will move in right here and pretty much face them off, and he will roll his mighty dice. And don't forget, his attack affects 90 degrees based on Harvest of the Bone, and he will roll 3 dices for this attack. So he will not roll any fate dice because there's nothing that he can affect by doing so. Now, the foes that he's pretty much trying to harm is called the Grubbers. And if you notice on the top left, he needs to strike 5 or greater. Okay? And they move by 3. If you see on the top right, that's their movement, and their vitality is 1. So let's see what happens in this case as Amazing Arthur rolls. In this point, he pretty much, you only need one success, and pretty much he has much more than one success, and he obliterates them. And pretty much they all go off, and in that one strike, Arthur amazingly slays the 3 Grubbers, and one of them just drops pretty much a loot right here, and for something for Arthur and his allies to grab. And he cannot see really what it is, but with his amazing strike, he was able to take down those foes in one hit. And now that is something formidable. Now, it's important to also remember that every damage that you do will, in effect, raise your threat level. And then that will bring the attention of the foes within this prison to your attention. And him being the soldier and Arthur, he would want that attention for his allies. The next to move, by seeing what has just occurred, is Lance. And Lance pretty much feels at this point it is his opportunity to rush out of there, and he is going to take the risk and chance by sprinting out of there out of fear, because at this point he feels kind of left out and kind of phobic being there alone. So he has a movement of 3 because of this, which will increase the AP by 1 more, so it's going to become 3, as you could see by that 1 cost of AP. And because this is not an attack, you do not lower the AP in this case. So very, very important, before anything goes on, Lance turns to Arthur and realizes that Arthur's threat pretty much is at 3, and he will try to aid him in that, but he has nothing to pretty much aid him. Okay, so that does for Arthur. So what Arthur will do, what Lance will, so Lance now at this point, seeing what he did and what he has to do, he will sprint out of there, and he will do 1, 2, 3, and then use his extra movement, 1, 2, and he will come right here, and he will stop right there. And actually he will stop right there. So now that he did that, he will stop his turn in action, and now it will become Trish's turn. And as she looks around and she realizes that all her allies have moved out and her new friends, and she seeks to see what is it that she's going to do. There's not much she wants to do, so what she will do instead, she will just move out, and she will use her 2 movement, maximum movement, and she will just come here. And usually it's important to remember, if you do not take an action within your hero cycle, because we're in the heroic cycle right now, then you get to your loitering and you lose actually one of the possible 5 treasures you're able to obtain within this scenario. It will affect also the next scenarios or acts by having 1 lesser treasure to be able to obtain. So it's important to be always active in every hero cycle. And at this point, all the heroes have moved, and usually after the hero cycle is the deck cycle. And at this, first of all, the deck cycle, before it begins, what happens is Arthur realizes that pretty much from what he did, he has lessened his threat level, because he has not used all his possible actions that he could do this possible hero cycle, and he goes down to pretty much no threat to anyone, as there's no one within his area of vicinity. And more importantly, that he feels that at this point he didn't do anything that would jeopardize his new allies. Also, anybody that had any threat will be lowered at this point. Now everybody refreshes and gets new deck of cards and new powers before they move on to the refresh phase. So now that the deck phase is over and all the heroes have pretty much reobtained and refreshed their powers. Now, more importantly, occurs the refresh phase. In the refresh phase, the first thing is that the darkness meter, pretty much the darkness cycle, will go up based on the amount of enemy group types, and there's only one type. It's the and because of that, it's going to go to 4, and the darkness is really slowly smothering the heroes now because the AP went up to 4. And more importantly, after that, allies activate, and Cyrddin, pretty much she has movement of 3, so she's going to move 1, 2, and 3. To be on the safe side, she's going to move here. As she moves out of the cell, and she thanks her heroes now that she made new friends, and she thanks them again as she feels uncomfortable in her status the way she is. There is no quest results, and there's no status effects, there's no traps, so at this point there's the cleanup, and there's nothing to clean up other than the foes that got slain, and they got Arthur kind of set the tone. So now a new hero cycle begins. And let's see what occurs in this hero cycle, as Lily is the first one, as always, to take action, and she will decide what she wants to do. But the first thing she wants is to rush out of there and not leave her friends behind. So she's going to do her full movement of 2, and based on that, let's see what else she would want to do. The only thing she feels like doing is to control the darkness with her musical fingers, and because of that, she'll reverse 1 AP in the darkness meter. So let's have her do that, and she will reverse it from 4 to 3, which will allow the heroes to do their actions right now. Well, Trish feels bold at this point, and she just reaches out, and she's going to try to use her own sprint opportunity to pretty much go and try to grab that loot that's right there. So let's see what she's going to do at this point, as she will try to obtain it, and she will cause the darkness to go back to 4, and she'll move. It's mine. 1, 2, and you need to use 1 movement point to pretty much see and obtain what is in there, and she has pretty much picked up that loot, and let's see what will occur. So here's the bag, and I'm just going to randomly put my finger in there and grab something, and it is the bronze, a generic loot of something of a white treasure. So let's see what she has obtained. She has found a shadow potion. It lowers your threat by 3, which is very, very nice. So she will hold on to that, for that is her treasure, and she has taken her action. And I don't think anybody here pretty much has anything to do in a sense of action, but she was the only one to take action and increase. So at this point, they're not loitering and wandering around as heroes in the darkness. So they can all do what they have to do. So he will move 2. He will move 1, 2. She already moved. He will move 2 right into here. Okay. And at this point, the heroes don't really feel that they have to do anything. So what they're going to do is they're going to push for the deck phase again. So Amnok, before Lily can do any action, looks around and takes his move as he leaps right in front, and then does a stand fast prayer where it pretty much grants all the heroes -1 target number to the courage test, and more importantly, for the reason why he's taking this action, increases by 1 die the hero attack actions. And this does not bring on the darkness, as he does that for his newfound friends and allies. So Lily, without hesitation, moves forwards to be beside her newfound allies as she fears being left behind, and she does the Fleet of Foot positive verse, where each hero within range gains one additional movement point that is not considered a move, which is formidable, and when Amnok hears that, he takes that opportunity to move right forward right there and then. Hearing that beautiful verse, Arthur without hesitation moves 3, 1, 2, and 3 right in front of the first grubber, who turns around and surprised and pretty much turns their attention, as now I think they're pretty much known to be within the prison jail cell. Within the prison. And let's see what's going to occur at this point, as now the heroes are bringing the action to the foes. Well, Lance takes this opportunity, being from where he is at that point, turns around and sees Arthur leaping forward, and with his ranged weapon, he prepares as an archer. They have something formidable, as line of sight doesn't necessarily affect them the way it does others, and more importantly, they use ammo, because otherwise without ammo their ranged weapons does not function properly. And his stick and twine that he was left with within the jail cell pretty much is still useful with a skilled archer. And at this point, what he will do is he will try on his passageway as he moves to retrieve. And he could do that at any time. What he does is search your discard pile and find one ammo card and ready it. And when it's readied, that means he can pretty much take a range shot. This action will increase as he turns around and eyes that grubber. It will increase the darkness by 1. And more importantly, now as he tries to use that readied ammo, and he will try through the needle eye. So it's +2 fate die. Alright. And more importantly, attack one target within range. If using ammo and targeting the armor enemy, the attack gains -2 target number. In this case it doesn't, but what it will do in this case, if you notice, increase the AP by 1 more, which will bring the AP to 6. And that is something dangerous, because the darkness will take action after this action. So let's see what will happen. So let's do one thing at a time. And in this case, let's see. He gains 2 dices plus the 1 fate die, and this fate die, what it would do, it will lower the threat. Don't forget that within this tile, and this is the tile that it affects, so Amnok's prayer did not manage to reach him, even though he's nearby, because he kind of glanced and blessed this tile when he did the stand fast, and that will not affect him in any shape or form. Alright, neither did Lance get anything benefit in a sense of movement, so he did use that retrieve. So let's see, and he also did do through the needle's eye, and now he will roll to see what will happen. And Needle's Eye, by the way, gives him 2 more dices to roll for success, and at this point for him to fail is very slim. But let's see what happens. And at this point he has a major successes, and also more importantly, he has rolled his, if you notice, he has rolled his natural fate, and because of that he will lower, and pretty much that grubber is slain. And instead of increasing his threat to 1, it will remain at 0, because don't forget that the stick and twine will lower the threat after the attack by 1. And he was able to reach the grubber because the range is 4 and 1, 2, 3, well, pretty much he was within 3 spaces or squares away. And at this point, he did something formidable, but now that he ended his action, before anyone else can take an action, the enemy, or should I say the darkness, smothers the heroes and they take their action now. So let's see what the darkness may do to the heroes. So this is the current event. If there are less than 4 minions, spawn a captain. And in this case, there is not. Then the threat, all heroes take twice the damage for the rest of the act, but nobody's within threat penalty. And more importantly, the activation. So in this case, the minions, then the captain will do their action. And this is the first time the darkness reacts. So let's all move them within range. So this 1, 2, 3. And they will move, he will move right here. 1, 2. 1, 2. And 1, 2, and 3, I believe he will do. And 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2. And this is 1, 2, 3. And he, the Mucker, which you do not know of, the captain of this ugly bunch, Brady bunch. Okay, he has 3 vitality. You need 7 or greater to strike him. And more importantly, he moves 3 also. And he's very threatening. So you would want to remove him before he removes you. So he moves 3 also. So he's from here. So you move 1, 2, and 3. Raw, get him. So now they pretty much surrounded Arthur, and that's not good. And Arthur's vitality does start with 7, but that's no reason to not sweat it. So it's very, very important to notice that at this point the AP will go back to 0, and pretty much right after this action. Now let's see what occurs and what they do. So each one will take an action and roll pretty much to see if they strike the hero at this point. And right now there's 3, 4, 5 grubbers. And let's see how many of them pretty much manage to hit our hero. So this is a 9, that's 1 hit. They need a 7 or greater, the grubs, to pretty much hit the hero. So that's 1, that's 2, and that's it. So 2 of them managed to, oh, there's missing 1 more. Sorry, there's 6 that were possible to hit the hero. And he also fails because you need 7 or greater. So he takes 2 damage, the hero. So he is down to 5, and Arthur pretty much pushes back a little bit, and that hurt. Alright, now that they finish their action, it is back to the hero cycle, and the heroes may continue their turn as they were performing it. But this opens up for what pretty much maybe Trish would want to do to them. I think the heroes will go quickly into their deck phase, but before they do that, she will move 1, 2, and he will remain. Everybody did their movements, and more importantly, now we're going to refresh their powers, and before they take the refresh phase, where Cyrddin will decide to move a little bit up to aid, or at least to be near the current heroes. And as there is 1 type, there will be 1 action point on the board, because there's the 1 type of foe that is on the board. And at this point, we're going to begin the hero cycle again, and let's see what the heroic heroes will do at this point. But before anything else, Lily is looking, as she wants to chant, as she wants to catch up also with the allies, what they're doing. So what Lily is going to do, she's going to move quickly right up, her full movement, and she is going to do "Their blades are burning bright," something heroic for her heroes. Range is 2, so anybody nearby, and pretty much everybody's nearby her. Each hero within range pretty much gains -1 target number to hit with attack actions. You gain 1 threat for this, and also the darkness increases. So pretty much she makes her allies harder to hit, and she takes 1 threat for doing that. Okay. So she makes it easier to hit her foes, pretty much. That's what she does. So -1 target number to the hit with the attack actions that the heroes do within range, and everybody's within her range. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's something heroic. But she doesn't stop there. She feels that she will play 1 more for once more. It's a neutral one, and she can play it. Each hero within range may reroll all failed dice once during each action, and that is something important. So right now the action points is at 2. So let's see what the heroes want to do, as now Arthur feels he's holding the fort for his allies. So luckily Arthur has the Harvest of Bones, and what he will do, he will increase his rage, because he's mad and he wants revenge. And what he will do is burn 2 face down cards from his deck, not knowingly what it is, to increase the potential of the damage that he's going to do. And because he's standing there, he will roll 1 extra die on top of the regular. And don't forget, he needs only 1 to be a success for it to strike all of them. So he is facing at this point this one. So this is within his range. This one and this one and this one. While this one will be pretty much survive his raging madness. So let's see what he will do at this point. And he will take 1 die because he did not move. And he will take another die because of his soldier training. He will take 2 because of his Haldorian blade. And he will take a fate die, not that he needs any, so he will not roll that. So instead, let's see what. And he does strike the enemy. This was enough, and pretty much he has 2 successes, but he only needed 1, and pretty much he obliterated this foes. So right through the wall he fell, right? And this one, and this one, and this one, and this one is like, ah. So what an amazing, and Arthur is just doing it all, and because of that, his threat just leaped to 4, and his eyes are mad with rage. As not only that, with that mighty strike, dropped another treasure in its midst. And now the next thing he does, because he did that, don't forget, the action point went up to 4, and the darkness is getting really dangerous at this point. So let's see what will happen. And more importantly, he feels, just to top it off, out of anger and rage, he will use his last action space to do the hidden blade, and he swings at that grubber before it runs away. With no more actions to do, he turns to this grubber with mad, raging eyes, and he will take the 3. And that was enough to kill it. And it's off it goes. And what a mighty strike. And I gotta say, Arthur is truly standing by his name, and that is mighty of what he did. Very, very important that I did not mention before when Arthur did the hidden blade. You see this? Here it says that he could use it as an action or reaction. Usually every hero within a hero cycle can only do 1 action. Alright, and in this case, he did his 1 action and reaction. And That goes for every hero. So now Amnok is pretty much going to come in and move around his allies and try to come right here. And as he does that, he is going to unleash his angelic word, and its range is 3, damage is 2, and more importantly, this attack gains a number of additional die 10 equal to your faith. He has only 1 faith right now. This will increase the AP by 1, bringing it 5, and he will unleash and try to damage that foe. So he will have 1, 2, and 3 dices that he rolls because he's an Acolyte. I'm not the Acolyte. And let's see if he manages to damage that foe. And don't forget, he will roll a fate die because he's able to lower. And he fails in lowering his threat, but he successfully strikes the Grubber many times over, and the Grubber is dead at this case. And because he did that, now it pretty much leaves that, and he will gain 1 threat because of this. So alone is the Mucker. Oh yeah, they're all dead. Yeah, buddy, wait until Arthur gets to you. So oddly enough, the heroes feel they'll stand their ground at this point, allowing the Mucker to probably activate very, very soon. But before that, they feel to let themselves pretty much clear the current powers that they have into something new. Now Arthur will be first, and Arthur, because he used all his action spaces, he will not be able to lower the threat level, and because he has the highest level, it's probably in high chance that the enemy will pretty much take him first into action. So let's see what he will be able to do soon enough, and let's see what his actions will be. Now, more important, Amnok also pretty much, he will keep some of the cards that he had, and he will refresh 3 cards. So 3 different powers. And then then there's Trish also, and she will try to do something in a sense to 3 new powers. All right. And then near last but not least, there is also Lance and the Archer. And what he will do, he will pretty much discard all the cards except for 1. Let's see what he's going to get. 5. Now usually each hero has 5 skilled cards or powers that they may use, and some abilities or skills allow them to have more. So let's see, in this case everybody's ready. They have done their deck, and some have lowered their threat based on the fact that they have not used much action in their turn. So everybody is at 0 for this exception of our amazing Arthur, who has been doing most of the damage in this case, but others have been aiding him in this way. So now that they did that, there's the refresh phase, and the first thing that happens is pretty much in the refresh phase, the darkness will react based on the amount of foe types, and there's only 1, and because of that it will go to 6, and then it goes back to 0, but the enemy will react. So let's see what happens. And in this case, for this activation, only treat the threat penalty event as threat level 8. Whew. Luckily there's no 8, so it will skip the threat penalty, and now it's going to go to minions captain, so the captain will react, or should I say the Muckers, they will react. And the Mucker, what he will do is move 1, and pretty much he's the highest level, so he will move again just to face him off right in his face, and he will try to strike Arthur hard. So let's explain this raging Mucker. So it has Call of the Lesser ability skill, which we'll not get into right now. It has the melee of 2, it rolls 2 die 10, and it has 1 fate die, and more important, it has 2 attacks against 1 target. It needs only 5 or greater, and if it rolls this, it will prone Arthur. And now let's see what is the Call of the Lesser. Spawn 1 additional grubber when resolving a normal spawn. Well, in this case, luckily, there isn't one, so it will not be able to do that. And so let's see what will happen when the Mucker attacks. Oh boy. So he rolls 2 die 10, and very, very important, let's hope Arthur can stand his ground against the Mucker. He rolls 2 attacks against 1 target. So 6 and 8 pretty much is good enough, and it's a hit, and he will do, as it says right here, 1 damage. Alright, Arthur takes another damage, and he will strike again. 4 and 1, and he misses on the second attack because you need 5 or greater. And at this point, Arthur dodges it. Oh, damn, that hurt. Now that that is done, she can move, and she will try to come here and try to stay away because she's pretty much at this point mercy, and she's weak. Okay, she can't do much, and Lily is just looking around, and the allies think they gotta take the Mucker down at all costs. And Arthur, with his rage, as now it is the hero cycle, he looks upon the foe, and he has saved up to now the 1 power that he feels he will use without delay. It's called Devastate. But before he does that and unleashes that, he feels that his allies, he will give them the opportunity to move around him and to do what they wish before he takes his final action. So Amnok, before Arthur can take his action, incredibly so, decides to sprint and gain 3 movement to his own movement, and he will bring the AP darkness to 1 as he moves 1, 2, and the third one will be to take pretty much this treasure. And oh boy, the ground is shaking all around, and the Mucker is and as he does that, let's see what is this treasure that will be coming to our midst. So let's grab Ramley, and it is another common item. So let's see what the heroes have managed to obtain, and it is another shadow potion. Okay, and at this point Amnok will get it because it was Amnok that was there. And before Arthur can strike and decide to use his devastating attack, well, Lily decides to play a final tune where she will feel the end of this Mucker who has threatened her allies and newfound friends. It's called The Name The Muckers Defeated. Well, that's nice. The Muckers Defeated. And at this point, if she does not move, and she will not move, she will cause 3 damage. The range is 2. And negative verse. Choose 1 target within range. Deal the target an amount of damage based on your movement. And it costs 2 action. And she will play the musical tune. And it's 1, 2. And he is right here within her range. No, sorry. She's right here. 1, 2. As you could see, and pretty much she will leap and send the tune and the music, and Arthur pushes back in amazement as the Mucker will take 3 damage because she did not move and is slain and is gone and is cleared from the board the heroes. Lily continues to sing, but now more of a harmonious tune as the heroes valiant win, and more importantly, Cyrddin is grateful as she rushes all around and to obtain her most sacred loot, as the heroes now in camaraderie come around to her aid as they also try to gather their equipment and gear as before they move on and try to move on from this great escape that they have successfully managed. So, thanks to this amazing heroes, Cyrddin is thankful as the heroes now found their adventure gear, which will increase by 1 their vitality, and this one belonged to Arthur, amazingly so, and his vitality will be 8 instead of the regular 7. And let's see what other equipment was laying about as the Mucker was guarding. Ooh, it's the pot lid that Arthur used, or at least he found now, pretty much. In this case, he found there, and he's going to use this as a shield for now until he finds his new valiant shield sometime point in the future, he hopes. But right now he will successfully use the pot lid, and as they look, well, Amnok decides to grab the wooden plank as he feels, it's something pertaining to him. And let's see, more importantly, he sees his veil of the believer, which pretty much belongs to him. It's draw +1 card, discard when completing a prey action card. He will be used as a helm, and now another adventure gear, which Amnok will wear and increase his vitality to 7 from the ordinary 6. At this point, there's something resonating within the chest, and that's the mark of the Apprentice, and that will be Trish's, and that will heighten her attack when she attacks. And more importantly, there's another adventure gear, which will increase her vitality from 5 to 6. And she found an enchanted twig that she was missing, and hence she will equip it. And now the hero, and what do you know, Lily pulls out her family crest and she wears it, as it will increase her fate die, which is very important. Also, she'll put adventure gear, which will increase her vitality from 5 to 6. And Lance finally found his mysterious carry-all to be able to carry the ammo he needs, and more importantly, his adventure gear, so his vitality goes from 5 to 6. The heroes now safely made it, and they decide to carry on their path. And as Cyrddin is thankful, she shares with them the following rewards. Cyrddin thanks the heroes and offers them 2 serendipities, which are considered in this world of myth as luck and chance and opportunity, and they, the heroes, will keep it as it belongs to all the heroes and not to just one individual. So more importantly, they will keep it aside right there. And more importantly, she shares with them another shadow potion, and she will give that to Arthur, who gladly takes it and reaches out for it. As for Lily, she would love to have the focus potion which Cyrddin was carrying with her, and she will take that. And while at the same time there is that one vitality potion, and at this point Arthur will take that. So the heroes move on and into Act 2. The savage introduces herself as Cyrddin. Apparently, she has been locked up there for some time. It isn't an official prison, as much as a place where people with money put troublemakers. If you are here, it is because you are causing some major trouble for someone, she smiles. You're my kind of people. Cyrddin cuts down a hallway to the right and opens the first door at the left. The room is full of mostly empty bins. In one you find your gear. Your belongings don't seem to be any worse for wear, so you readily rearm yourself. Turning around, you find your new friend standing in front of a bin full of intricate armor, peeling off caked mud. Apparently, she was naked. You turn away quickly. Guessing at your thoughts, she answers your unasked question. They took all my clothes. I had to do something to stay warm. It gets cold in the towers at night.